on in the movement and kind of what we're all facing at the moment. So I asked to join me. I asked Adam Sud and his brother Bobby, and then we got a special guest, Morgan Donnelly, who is also joining us. So I guess it's the benefits of being quarantined together. You have more vegan activists with you. So definitely, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, I mean we're hanging in there. What do you think?
Doing pretty good. Yeah.
We
don't mind in the quarantine.
Last night she made chocolate chip cookie dough fudge bars.
Oh my goodness.
Becky, Chris, how are you doing?
Been doing well. So my wife, she's been making loaves of bread, and her last one, she made a banana blueberry bread. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Yes, it was really good. There's not much of it left, so I'm hoping to get to it before the kids do. So we'll see. I'm trying to sweet talk my wife into joining us for a few minutes too, but we'll see. So, and I know Bobby is going to try to get Nikki to join him as well. So.
Yeah, she is. I don't know where she went. She was just here.
she heard we were going live and ran away. So, there's been a lot going on that, we're not able to do. We're not being able to be out, doing things, whether it be, protests or staging any kind of Anonymous for the Voiceless. What can we do? What would you guys recommend that we do for folks who want to be able to spread the word and still push this movement forward while we're kind of all stuck at home?
Yeah, I would say that probably Bobby and Morgan can speak better to that because they have much more of an active voice in the activism arena, even though I'll try to be as active as possible. But I mean, using social media sounds to me like the way to do it at this point is to there's a great opportunity now where people are really saying, hey, look, we can't see the convenience of being able to fix things once it becomes too bad anymore.
Yeah.
That leeway that people conveniently gave themselves just no longer for a good amount of things no longer exists. Whether it's the animal aspect, you can't deny that this situation came out of animal agriculture. The fact that the people whose lives are most at risk are people with underlying condition caused by consuming animal products that come from animal agriculture. However the reason you want to look at it, people are going to have to get their shit together. And,
we love them so much.
We do.
But they really do.
Yeah. I mean, there's no more time to say, I'll take care of it tomorrow.
No, there's really not. And it's funny you bring that up. Since we're talking about this, I'm going to show this real quick. I hope you guys will be able to see this as well. So this little graphic that I put up, let me knock a couple of you guys off a second. How about now? So sorry about that. We're learning on the fly here. So it's gotten pretty positive results from most people who understand what's going on and what has created this mess. So it says coronavirus is linked to wild animal food markets in China. And then this guy who is clearly a little overweight says disgusting what some people will put in their bodies. And then the service guy is simply asking, want bacon on your triple cheeseburger? The disconnect is so real. It's very difficult to realize what's going on here. So many people are just ignoring the facts behind some of this stuff. They're like, well, they're nasty in China. They're barbaric in China. And my question is, have you ever been to a slaughterhouse? Have you ever been? Bobby dropped off. Have you ever been to a CAFO? If anyone knows what a centralized animal feeding operation is, that's beyond disturbing. And it's very difficult to ignore. But they want to blame China and they want to blame all these other people, but we're doing a lot of this stuff in our own backyard and people don't even realize it.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of wet markets in the United States. A lot of them, in New York has probably more wet markets than any major city in the country. Supposedly our like high, our most cultured, like the center of the of our culture in terms of like fashion and entertainment and all that stuff. It's supposed to be New York, but that's where all the wet markets are, and it's no different. It's just different animals.
Yeah.
I wish more people would wake up to that and realize what's going on, because if we don't make changes now, nothing's going to change. And who's not to say the next pandemic that has caused, this isn't the first.
No.
Who's to say the next pandemic that is caused through animal agriculture doesn't make this even worse? Why? Who's not to say it's not going to be more deadly than what we currently have going on. So just so Adam and Bobby know, you guys best behave. Mama's in the house.
Yeah, talk about she's a pretty strong activist herself. She's been to the LA Animal Save, Pig Vigil, the Chicken Vigil. She's amazing.
And Jim too.
Yeah. So yeah,
that's awesome. What you guys
but he's very vocal about it. I mean, you go to my dad's Facebook page, it's basically just him telling people to stop eating animals. So.
My kind of guy.
Absolutely. I love it, and I love what your guys' family brings to this movement. For those who are not familiar with your guys' story as far as how you guys got started, would you guys just a very, very quick, what was your trigger for you guys?
Yeah. Go ahead, Bob.
No.
Okay. So my reasoning for going plant-based in 2012 was because I had survived a suicide attempt and was struggling with substance abuse, and ended up in rehab facility where I found I had diabetes and heart disease and a bunch of other things. And so I decided to go plant-based because I wanted to reverse the diseases and lose weight, and which I did. I was able to reverse the diseases, lose a significant amount of weight. And then in 2016, when Bobby's journey started, is when I really became vegan. I had been vegan, but I wasn't an activist until Bobby came along. And so Bobby was really my catalyst for being a vegan activist. Surviving a suicide attempt where you nearly experience dying, I would never willingly do that to another creature. So it's a lot of things.
Yeah, that's very, very powerful, to say the least, and I appreciate you sharing that with everybody. I'm going to have Bobby kind of come on real quick and share what has triggered his journey to start, and then we'll go from there. Bobby, so what was it for you that was kind of your final straw that broke the dam that got you started?
Well, I mean, it was Adam who got me started. I was overweight and I had diabetes and all that. I was in the same situation Adam was in terms of my health. I didn't have the addiction problem, and I didn't attempt suicide. But I saw it work for him, and it's easy for me to say, this person's trying to sell me something. Oh, that's maybe they're telling half truths or something. But when my twin brother tells me here and shows me here, this works. So that's what got me to move from Austin to LA and try that, and that's why I went plant-based. But it was when I went to the first LA Animal Save Pig Vigil that I realized what the rest of my life was going to look like. So.
Well, I really appreciate you guys sharing that. So some folks may not know exactly who you guys are. So if you would, we'll start with Bobby. I got someone asking who the peeps are who are joining me. So if you would give hey, my name is Bobby. My favorite color is clear, and a little bit about what you are involved in, the things you try to actively keep busy with.
Yeah. So I'm Bobby, and I'm an organizer with LA Animal Save. So every week we hold a vigil outside of Farmer John's slaughterhouse near downtown LA, where we give water to pigs when they arrive at the slaughterhouse. And then I also organize the chicken vigil, which is we do that twice a month. And I'm a filmmaker and cinematographer, and I work with Sean Monson, director of Earthlings. And we've been shooting a film for like 2.5 years now. So that's what that's what most of my time consists of.
So you're a little busy. I get it. That movie you're talking that you guys are currently working on, is that the one that starts with an O?
That's what it used to start with.
Okay. So,
Now starts with an X, right?
It's changed a bit.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear about that. The projects that if everyone who has watched Earthlings, and there's a reason they call that the vegan maker. No doubt this will be the next chapter of something very important for this movement for animals everywhere. So, Adam, I'm going to make you wait.
Please.
We're going to ask Morgan to go next.
All right.
Yeah, and
so,
tell them why you became vegan as well.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So I was saying before we got on this that actually my inspiration, because we were talking about how there's a disproportionate ratio for men and women who are vegan.
Chris, do you know about this?
No, I haven't heard. Weird.
But actually, my inspiration for becoming vegan was from 2 male yoga teachers. And I didn't have any health issues whatsoever. Mine was just purely out of kind of making the connection one day. I grew up riding horses, and there were chickens on the farm, and we used to get the chance to put the eggs in an incubator and then let them hatch, and then we would kind of like have these little chicks. And that's when I was pretty young. And then at one point when I was in my teens or something, I started to realize, I was like, I don't want to eat those anymore. And I consider myself really fortunate that I never had to watch any footage. I never had to have anyone convince me. It was just like super easy for me to be like, you know what, if that is something that happens and I don't want to know about it and I'm not comfortable knowing about it, count me out. I'm not participating in that any longer. And
This is why there's more women.
No, absolutely. My wife started, this for us before I started digging into this. So she didn't need to see the horrors of what goes on either.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people still do, and some people will see it and then try to be vegan, and then they can't stick with it and they go back. So it's a lot of different factors, but I really have come to realize that it is the way to live through yoga, and just knowing that the true practice of yoga is being vegan because it's not causing harm on other beings.
Sure.
And that's the way I live. And I'm not teaching right now because of quarantine, but in my classes, I definitely try to emphasize that. And only kind of recently started getting into activism, but I love it, and I am going to do more of that.
What's your favorite form of activism that you enjoy and feel you get the most out of, as far as, to me, activism isn't about me. It's not about, what I'm doing. It's about the animals. It's about getting other people to wake up to what they're doing. So for you, what is the thing for you that you feel you're most impactful with?
Well, so far I've only done kind of like disruption protest form of activism. And I find that to be like amazingly beautiful, which I never thought I would be into, but it's like all of this frustration that has been within me for so many years. It's like so nice to have an outlet to finally be able to let that out.
Sure.
And I would love to at some point. I haven't thought for a while that I was ready to do vigils, but I definitely at some point want to do that because connecting with animals is a huge part of it too.
Yeah.
I think that's the only type. And also like social media. Like I love to write and I love to put my stuff out there with images. And I feel like that's super impactful. And I share Bobby's pictures all the time on my story, like pictures of the pigs. Cause I think that, Bobby was the first person I started to follow who actually posted pictures related to animals because I had been so averse to that for so long. And his pictures were just impactful enough that, and like not too horrific for me to deal with, that I was like, everything that he was posting, I was just putting it out there. I was like, people need to see this.
I think that's very important for people to see what's going on. Once you see it, it's harder to ignore it. You look at the industries and how disconnected they have us from our purchases. They don't want you to think about that package that you're buying at the grocery store. They want you to feel that you have to buy that to eat it to live, but they don't want you to think about what happens to get there. So when you have people like Bobby and everyone at LA Animal Safe going out to these vigils and taking these pictures, capturing these videos of these incredible animals that unfortunately, their lives are over once this vigil is done. It's very powerful and hard to ignore. So I really appreciate everyone who's involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, you are up next, my friend.
So hi, my name is Adam, and I run a nonprofit that does research on the effects of plant-based nutrition and mental health outcomes. I am also a diabetes coach with Mastering Diabetes, where we help people reverse insulin resistance through the use of low-fat, whole food, plant-based nutrition. And then I also am a speaker for Engine 2 and some various retreats where we help people adopt a plant-based vegan lifestyle. Mainly my approach has been for health reasons, but more and more over the course of the last 2 years, even though that's my trade, that's what I do. I help people. My voice has become much more about the animals, to where it's like, even if we couldn't reverse these diseases with a diet that stops the harm of animals, it's irrelevant. It's the right thing to do. And that's the only reason I need.
Absolutely. Bobby, we've talked about LA Animal Save and the slaughterhouse vigils, the chicken vigils. What have you seen for folks when they come for their first time who have not witnessed what happens there? What kind of emotions are you seeing from some of these folks that show up?
Well, I mean, there's the what you would expect from most people, because most people are not monsters. Most people are not sociopaths. 99.9% of the people, care about animals. In fact, I would think that it's the one topic more people on the planet would agree on, that we should be kind to animals.
Yeah.
I think that's I don't think there's a topic that more people on the planet would agree on than that. So people come in, it's hard for them. They're crying and there's a lot of guilt sometimes. But what's important is that there's a personal experience for each person. It's an individual experience, and it's different for everybody. And that just comes from standing in front of another living being and knowing that this innocent life is about to die. And there's nothing, you're struck by the futility of it because there's nothing you can do for them. And except for offer them kindness, the only kindness they've ever seen in their life, especially from a human being. And people like to say, and even vegans have commented on vigils, saying that they're not worth it. They're too taxing emotionally, and that we're not going to end animal agriculture standing on the sidewalk crying. And they're right. We're not going to end animal agriculture at a vigil. And that is that's not why we're there. If that's why you're there, you're missing the connection. You're missing the whole point. The point is that I have to be there for the animals in front of me. That's my connection to the vigil. That's where I am most effective. And what I'm doing is showing these other living creatures that they matter, that they existed, and that other people care, that we care for them, and that we're sorry. And it's only 2 minutes, and to us, 2 minutes seems incredibly small, incredibly insignificant amount of time. But you have to put yourself in that animal's position where here's a living being that's never experienced kindness. It's not as though they know about it and they're waiting for it. It doesn't exist in their world, right? So imagine how big those 2 minutes are for them. And if the result of my actions is the end of animal agriculture, fantastic. Of course, that's what we want, but that's not why I'm there. That's not why we're there. We're there for the animals. And I don't agree with criticizing other forms of activism. You know, if this isn't for you, then go do what you want to do.
Sure.
We can do more than one thing, and it is hard. But if you want to know what animal agriculture is, if you want to know what those animals are experiencing, you have to experience it firsthand. You have to see the reality presented to you front and center, because then it's undeniable. And that's the biggest thing about the vigils, is the undeniability of it. I can watch every documentary ever made and just turn off the screen and go, well, probably not. That doesn't happen here. It's easy to deny something when we're separated by distance and time. And it's literally what I'm watching isn't real. I'm just watching, a video playback of something that's happened a long time ago. But if you experience it firsthand, you know it, because you it's the only way to know something instead of just knowing of it.
You really can't unsee, you can't unsmell, you can't unhear that when you're up close to it.
Yeah.
One of the things my wife and I, we wanted to be able to do this year was to come out and connect with you guys. Clearly, we have other things planned right now. So, I know a lot of people outside of social media, a lot of people are struggling with what they can do to help right now. Obviously social media is a wonderful tool. It's a great way, lots of people are at home, so lots of people should be watching. Lots of people should see what's going on right now. Audiences should be paying attention right now. But what kind of things can you guys do or suggest to do as for organizations, individuals, to be able to move this movement forward in these times where we can't get together, we can't go out, we can't attend these vigils, we can't go do disruptions? What kind of things would you guys suggest to do?
Well, actually, the Save Movement, we just had a meeting about this last night with a bunch of the organizers from all around the country. So there's some stuff that we're planning on doing with, yesterday we had the captivity challenge where people would pick a cage that the animals are actually in and experience what it's like to be in there all day and go and stream it live. Mm-hmm. And we're also doing workshops where if you want to learn a certain thing, if you want to learn about how to be most effective with your language at a vigil, or how to run a vigil, we're going to be doing workshops like that anybody can join online. So that's what we're doing so far.
Where can people find some of that information, or where should they be looking for that information when you guys get ready to put that out there?
That'll be on the Save Movement on their website, and then on their Facebook page.
Awesome. So you guys check out the Save Movement for some of that information. So my wife just joined us. She said that she saw Amy doing that yesterday. So, I think it brings a reality to it when people are disconnected from that being a cow or a chicken or a pig. When you see a human in a cage, it makes it real for people. So I think it's a great idea. Absolutely.
The other thing I was going to say is for people who, if you can get out, if you can support your local vegan businesses, the ones that are still operating, the ones that even before this, Morgan, if you guys don't follow her on Instagram, she had an amazing post where she talked about hero teams, the local vegan businesses that were part of preventing what's happening right now. Go out and show your support to them. Order food, and if you want, order food and send it to a hospital. Feed the nurses and the staff that vegan food from your local businesses. Show them support with healing food, because one of the things that Bobby and I were talking about with someone earlier today is that in regards to restaurants and businesses, over 30% of them are not going to reopen. Let's try and preserve as many of those vegan local businesses, whether it's a clothing store, whether it's a food store, whatever it is. If it's a vegan business, show your support right now.
Absolutely, that's vitally important, especially when you're talking these, small markets, depending on where you are. You guys are, some of you guys, Bobby being in LA, you have a much bigger market than I do here in Dayton, Ohio. So there are very few actually vegan restaurants here and businesses. There are lots of restaurants that have lots of vegan options now here in Dayton, Ohio, but it's tough to know what's going to happen, how long this is going to continue, and how catastrophic this is going to be to a lot of these small businesses.
Yeah.
Let's see. Since we're talking about this, and what is your guys' opinion on what everyone should be doing to protect themselves from this? Obviously, if we can end the animal exploitation altogether in the future, that eliminates this need. But what would you guys suggest to do that people can do to protect themselves, protect their families right now with what's going on?
I'm not like an expert on this, I'm not a virologist or an epidemiologist, but what I will say is listen to what the experts are saying and don't take it lightly. Either the things you can do in your home are, what we do here is we disinfect everything before it comes in the house.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously eat a healing plant-based diet. We do ginger in the mornings and put onions and mushrooms and all this stuff into our food in order to keep our immune system up. But take the social distancing stuff seriously. Let's just say it does last another 2 months. I'm not saying that that's what it is. Let's just say it does. Then let's take it seriously and let's do what we have to do to protect ourselves and the people that we care about, or that somebody else really cares about.
Sorry, Morgan, go ahead.
Sleep is very important.
Yeah.
So taking care of yourself with everything that Adam said, as far as what you're putting into your body and also what you're putting into your mind. So don't be flooding yourself with information and news that you're reading about all the numbers rising. I've never once read an article or listened. I just hear my news from people.
To me.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm okay. And some people might say that's sticking your head in the sand, which it kind of is, but at the end of the day, there's so much going on that I can't control. And if I can keep myself in my space, centered and grounded and taking care of myself in all the ways I need, that's ultimately gonna serve everyone better. So
Absolutely.
I don't have it. I don't know, other than stay inside and wash your hands and all that. But one thing I wish there was less of is shaming people that aren't doing what you think is the right thing to do.
Yep, absolutely.
And even if when it all started, people going, look at these monsters taking all the toilet paper. Look at these people taking all this. They're not monsters. They're people that are scared.
Mm-hmm.
They're people that are panicking. They don't know what to do. And we have to have compassion for those people. We have to have understanding for them. And I think that if we can, reduce that, and like they were saying, we don't know, and we shouldn't react to every surge and retreat that we see in the media. We should just wait until all the facts are in. Again, we don't know. And so we can worry about all these things, and then we can start shaming people for stuff that we're not even informed about.
And there's a lot of information out there. So I can't talk about it publicly a whole lot, but I work for a company here in Dayton that is a clinical laboratory, and I am helping facilitate, I work in IT, but I'm helping facilitate the IT portion of a coronavirus collection site here in Dayton, Ohio. And one of the doctors, in speaking with him, he said part of the problem is that a lot of the data that came out of China was just bogus. He said right now you hear lots of things like type A blood is more susceptible than other types of blood. He said there are so many little things like that are out there that they just don't know the answers to some of this right now, because they're still trying to figure out a lot of this stuff as it's happening. Initially when it came out of China was that this is just the flu, and it turns out this is not the flu. This is full on, I see a lot of people they call it coronavirus, they call it COVID-19. And the medical laboratory name for this is SARS-CoV-2, which means it's SARS-2, which is much more serious than the flu. I guess this is very aggressive when people contract this, and it can be very dangerous. So, I'm with you that we shouldn't be shaming people doing the things that you don't think that they should or shouldn't be doing. I think it's important, to Morgan's point, to center yourself, keep your mind and your body healthy the best that you can. Personally, like when I come home from work, knowing that I've been around or exposed some of these folks, the first thing I do, I shut the garage door, I strip down, put everything into a trash bag, take it right to the wash, put that in the washer, and then I go take a shower. We're trying to do the best we can to protect ourselves and keep everything from the outside coming in, and I think that's probably one of the best things everybody can do right now. So when this is all said and done, and the clouds lift, sun comes out, and everybody can do what we want to do and what we would enjoy doing, I'd like to hear from each of you. What's the first thing that you cannot wait to be able to go do?
Yeah, I guess.
What are you dying to do, Adam?
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, there's one person that I would like to go and give a hug, and his name is Rod, and he works at ATX Food Co. in Austin. And if there's a hug I'm going to get first when this is over, it's going to be from him. And I'm going to eat 12 of his tacos.
Morgan?
Well, we were talking about this, what was the thing we missed most about this whole quarantine. And honestly, for me, being an introvert, like this hasn't taken too much of a toll on me so far. But the one thing I do miss is being able to go to a cafe and sit and just write on my laptop.
I have a special answer for what they can't wait to do the first time we get a chance. So this is my wife, Becky. This is the reason why I'm vegan. This is what brought it to my life, because I wasn't interested. I wasn't ready. She fell in love with a cow online, and she said she felt like a hypocrite. Kind of thing. Oh, I know. Okay. If I do that, I don't know if that'll do that. I don't know. So she felt like a hypocrite because she cared about this cow and watched his videos and pictures every day, and then she'd turn around and feed cows and chickens and pigs to our family. So finally she had enough. She called me at work one day and said, "I'm done eating meat. I love you." Click. She literally hung up on me. So what would you like to do the first time we're able to go do whatever we want to do? What do you want to do? I know the answer.
You do?
I think I do.
What is it?
She does not want to cook another meal.
Yes. I want to go out to eat. I cannot wait for somebody else to fix me a meal.
Mm.
It's tough. So, well, it's not like it's just you and I that you're feeding.
No.
We got 3 boys that are here. So unfortunately, all of this fell. So we're a blended family. So I have 4 daughters who are at their moms, and unfortunately, we thought it best that to avoid contaminating their household or vice versa, that they kind of stay put for the time being. So this has been very taxing on us, but we do have 3 boys here that we still have to feed and take care of, and our dogs, and it's still a lot. So she will definitely be looking forward to a break where she doesn't have to feed all of us 3 meals a day. So, Bobby, what about you?
Go to a vigil.
And that was on our list of one of the things that we wanted to make sure we got to do. Is come out and see you guys, spend some time with you guys.
Maybe later this year.
That would, if things recover well. So here's a special one that you boys are going to get a hug from Mom.
Love you, Mom.
So
by the way, tomorrow is their anniversary. So happy anniversary, Mom.
How many years?
39.
I don't know if this will do anything. Hang on one second. No, that's.
All right, I'm just gonna go back upstairs.
You want to do it on your phone?
No.
No. Here, you're in charge. She doesn't want to be in charge either. So you said 39 years for their wedding anniversary?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is absolutely incredible. That's to me, that is probably one of the best symbols of wealth, is that a family and a long-term relationship like that. That is awesome and wonderful to see. They, no doubt, your mom and your dad are very proud of you guys. I appreciate what you guys bring to the move, to not just to this movement, to our lives. You guys were two of the first activists that we met when we started this fiasco.
Fiasco.
Yeah, it's been I don't know. We're still trying to figure this out as far as the best ways to wake people up, because sometimes I just want to shake people and I want to be kind and compassionate, but sometimes I want to take whatever they have in their shopping cart and just let them have it.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, the first time we met Adam and Bobby, they were at Nashville Veg Fest, and
I
Alec.
want to do an interview, and I slid under the table. I'm like, I'm not here.
Alec introduced us, and then they were like, "Hey, you want to talk?" And so then my wife disappears, and so that was fun. But that was the first time we actually met you guys, and you were probably some of the first activists that we had come across. So we appreciate your friendship and your guidance and what you guys do in this movement. We really appreciate a lot that you bring to this world. So I'm sure your parents are proud of that. And 39 years tomorrow is something they should be very proud of.
Yeah. How was that? 3 years ago?
I think it's been 4 years ago now. So we started our journey. We went vegetarian first for about 1.5 years, and that was in 2000. She'll correct me, but I think it was vegan for 2. So it must have been 2017. So yeah, 3 years, almost 4. Unfortunately, I don't know that Veg Fest is going to happen much of anywhere.
Yeah.
Which is
today was supposed to be Texas Veg Fest.
I know we have one in Columbus, which is scheduled currently for middle of August. But if you're not able to get things organized and do those things and lose a couple of months worth of activities, I don't even know if stuff like that will happen.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. So it's it's tough. So what are some of your favorite things to do while you guys are in quarantine, so to speak? What's something? So Bobby's fortunate because where he's currently at, he can go out and play with all kinds of animals and do all kinds of work. And you want to let everybody know where you're at right now?
Yeah, so I live at Love Always Sanctuary. It's owned by Amy Jean Davis, the founder of LA Animal Save, and Nikki Mingarelli, who's a vegan chef. And if you want to come and visit, if you're in the LA San Fernando area, just DM us on Instagram and we can set up a tour for a Saturday after all of this is over. It's nice having the animals around, and but it's also a constant reminder of what I'm usually doing for them that I can't do because of this.
Sure.
For some reason, slaughterhouses are still considered essential.
Man, that drives me absolutely crazy.
You want to know what part of it drives me nuts?
Yeah, what you got?
But beyond the whole part of them being killed and all that, beyond that, so if we look at the news, we're constantly hearing, healthcare workers and all these first responders that are short on gloves and protective gear. Slaughterhouses have all those gloves. The slaughterhouses are all wearing latex gloves, right? But and that's essential. Yet we have doctors and nurses who don't have them. And we're supplying the cause of the disease with latex gloves.
Yeah, you got to protect those workers, right? Yeah, that's aggravating to say the least. Very, very unfortunate. And it's funny. It's the first person I've heard bring that point up as far as the PPE that they're hanging on to because of their jobs. I'm that's going to brew some kind of thought and post coming up, because myself working in the healthcare industry, that hits home very hard.
Sure.
So one of the, I don't know if I can talk about this or not, but I'm going to. One of the things that the organization that we're a part of, our parent company, they have, other facilities in the area, and they've asked all of their learning locations, all of their athletic trainers, like everyone that's in the organization, to inventory your stock of all your PPE. And so they know exactly what they have, where they have it, and where it needs to be. So that's definitely a hot topic right now. And man, Bobby, I didn't even think about that. That would be a great way to score some serious PPE for sure. So Morgan, Adam, what do you guys like doing? Clearly, Adam likes to hurt himself.
It's a Sunday thing. It was last weekend when we started this, and then we didn't do it again today. This Sunday.
Yeah, I got a skateboard. My being in a quarantine turned me into like a 6-year-old boy. I was like, I want a skateboard, a bike, and basketball.
We got the bike. We got the skateboard and the basketball. Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday I had a little longboarding accident myself. So before I got on it, my wife says, we can't go to the ER today if you get hurt. And I was like, I got this. And, and then a few rounds later, next thing I know, like I am down. I got road rash on my hip, my knee, my right shoulder, right elbow. I woke up this morning and felt like I've been beat with a baseball bat. So she will not let me live this down anytime soon. So whatever, we were having fun anyway. So
we've been doing Latin dance aerobics on YouTube.
All right, we did that once.
No kidding. Okay.
We did a dance video.
Is that going to be the next famous TikTok that comes out?
I've not made my way over to TikTok.
You may as well. So I haven't. I never posted anything on it. I perused through some of the stuff on there, and I'll share some of the stuff I find from time to time, because what amazes me is the stuff that people post, and they post it anywhere. The cruelty of the animal agriculture industry. This guy, he was tagging a huge steer the other day, and as soon as he tagged his ear, this steer bucked, and had he not been in a crush, he would have taken off. And everyone was laughing at his post, and I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. No, it's not. It's cruel. It's amazing what people put out there that is acceptable. I have a post that I haven't shared yet, but I found it through someone else's post, and it was kind of bothersome, but it's amazing that people put this stuff out there saying, oh, this is what we do. It's okay. This is acceptable. Look, I'm essential because I work in animal agriculture. Animal cruelty is not acceptable. I don't care what industry you're working in.
Yeah.
And so many people just post that stuff like it's, hey, look what I did to this poor animal, or what happened today. And it's heartbreaking.
And it's ridiculous that the argument, beyond the quarantine and all that, the argument that animal agriculture is filling a need.
Yeah.
It's not filling a need, it's filling gluttony. Because a 20-piece chicken nuggets is not a need, and a double quarter pounder with cheese is not a need. That's gluttony. Mm-hmm. And that's all it's filling. Absolutely.
That's I don't know if you guys caught it the other day. There was somebody had sent me a video and said, how would you respond to this? Their 7-year-old daughter was sent a video for their math class for distance learning, and it was called the Metasaurus, or the Metanator. And so they showed little chicks on a conveyor belt, and it was all cartoon and animated. And then you hear like a sawing sound. You hear the sawing sound, and they're like, oh, look, the chicks go into the nuggetizer. And then it comes out, and it's a bucket of chicken. And then they put a cow in there, and it's steaks. And it's like, it was supposed to teach math and how functions when you change the input, how the output becomes different. In this video, it made fun of animal rights folks, of animal activists. It made fun of people who cared about what happens to these animals, and all they cared about were. Oh my goodness.
Come here, buddy.
That's hilarious.
This is the queen of the house.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, you know what? That's life, man. I'd rather see that happen than all kinds of other things. So, this video, it just shows how animal cruelty is normalized, how violence is normalized, and how it's okay to make fun of people who give a damn about animals, and it's infuriating. So I responded back, and I said, you know what? I would let the teacher know. I'd let the principal know, and if no one responds, I'd let the superintendent know that, you find this material, which I watched the whole thing. It was like 8 minutes long. It had very, very, very little to do with math.
It doesn't sound like it had anything to do with math, Chris.
No.
Unfortunately, it's something that we've seen over and over again throughout history. It's either our willingness to ignore it or just not recognize violence as violence.
Yeah.
We see it constantly, whether it's with wars or whatever it is. We'll say, oh no, that's not violence. That's patriotism. That's not violence. That's animal agriculture. Animal agriculture is the worst. Mm-hmm. It's the worst because it's self-replicating. It's a ceaseless event where animals are constantly being bred just to kill them, which makes it worse than anything else.
Mm-hmm. People don't realize that. And, I hear, well, our canines are why we're supposed to eat animals. That's why we were designed this way. And one of the things, my response to that almost every time is, these teeth couldn't tickle a cow's ass. We weren't designed to bite through the head or the hide of a live animal. We weren't designed to do those things. Absolutely not. But people make excuses and come up with whatever they can. Oh, there we go. There's my wife. She's the one she's on top of this. The video was called Meat Amorphosis. I shared it on Facebook, and all it was about was normalizing the violence and the food industry, and making fun of people who give a damn about animals. So hopefully one day, there will be kids that will see that and be like, what the hell? Why would I eat that chicken?
Yeah, you were talking about the inside, or your canines, and if you want to see proof that people just want to latch onto the first excuse they can find and really not think about it at all, is when they say, well, other animals eat other animals. That's nature. I was like, yeah, that's true. But you know what? Far more animals don't eat other animals on this planet. There are far more herbivores than carnivores on this planet. So what's your argument?
Yeah, they don't have one. Someone asked me, well, do you get upset with a wolf for eating an elk? I said, no, it's a wolf. That's unfortunately that's an apex predator.
Yeah.
We are definitely not top of the food chain. I mean, without weapons or technology, how long would you last against a mama grizzly bear?
I saw a really funny, maybe you posted, I think maybe it was you who posted, a really funny meme the other day saying about us supposed to be the apex predator, and how a lion at 6 or 8 months old is fully capable of hunting on its own, and my four-year-old daughter couldn't find her lunch when it was in her other hand.
I thought
that wasn't me, but that sounds like something I'd post.
That was John Lewis who posted that.
We will have, he puts some wonderful gems out there, doesn't he? So.
Yeah. You know what I think could be a really great thing that comes out of this is you're sort of seeing a shift in it for now, and I hope that it lingers. It's the detachment from the egocentric viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
We're no longer just basing our decisions upon what happens to us.
Yeah.
Right? People are saying, how is what I'm doing today going to impact the person next to me? In maybe more of a way. I'm not saying that's enough of a way to really make an impact in terms of veganism and recognizing the impact of animal agriculture, but more so than they were before they started. And this shows people what we're capable of. That we are capable of this growth towards less of an egocentric view of the world. That we don't need to see ourselves as the center of everything in order for life to be meaningful. And in fact, when we don't, we see what's truly meaningful. we're able to see that, like, shit, if I could go give my mom a hug right now, I would do anything to be able to do that right now. And I can't, because there's that great thing that's circulating on the internet right now. Is like we fell asleep in one world and woke up in another one where giving hugs to our loved one is a weapon. It's like, maybe there will be a lasting impact where people will start to really consider the choices that they make and how it impacts not just the person next to them, not just the planet that they live on, but like the spiritual world that everyone lives in, the kindness that they put out into the world, all of it. And I hope that this is just like a linchpin that like gets that all rolling.
That would be great. Everyone, there are people that will say you need to respect my choice to eat meat. It's my personal choice. But, a personal choice is not one that impacts the air, the water, and the ground that we all need and live on. A personal choice is if you decide to smoke while you're driving your car, but it's no longer a personal choice if you have 3 passengers and you decide to light up.
Well, it is a personal choice, but that doesn't make it a right. A choice is not a right. If people just changed it instead of saying, I could never be vegan because I like the taste because I choose to eat hamburgers because I like the taste. Instead say, I could never stop harming animals because I choose to eat cheeseburgers.
Sure.
It's this weird thing where we think our choices are our rights. And they're not. I can go out and start raping and killing people. That's a choice I could make. It doesn't give me the right to do it. And if I do, I'm going to end up in prison.
There are consequences for our actions. And unfortunately, so many people don't see those consequences. But right now, people are seeing the consequences of what's been going on for so long. So, all right, so we have about 9 minutes left, maybe 8. What is something positive you guys would like to share out with anyone who sees this video anywhere that may leave them with a little brighter moment than they had earlier today?
Go ahead, guys.
I got nothing.
Go, Morgan.
Oh, man. Well, I'm wearing my Inhale, Exhale, Love shirt, which is a good reminder. I think that there's so much that we're already picking up on in regards to what's going on and like the potential this has for us to wake up. And I think so many of us are making the connection, whether we can see those people right now or not. I think the most powerful and profound transformation for people will happen very internally. And they make that shift and that connection within themselves to be like, holy shit, maybe what these vegans have been saying this whole time is right. And so I think the way that we're just kind of like consistently putting this message out there and not being any more aggressive, not being any more harmful towards people, but just being like standing strong in what we've been saying. And people are starting to see the results and the consequences. My God's trying to get up again. Come on. Of what's going on, I think maybe they can start to connect those dots and kind of start to realize what's going on. And I think it's really going to connect. What are you waiting for?
Listening to what you're saying.
I think it's going to have a really profound impact on a lot of people. And we've already been seeing the way that the environment has been like recalibrating from us, reframing from exploiting it in a lot of ways in a short amount of time. And I think a lot of people are like, oh my God. And I'm seeing people put out things that aren't vegan, that aren't activists, noticing and recognizing what's going on. And so I really think it's going to create a big shift in people's understanding of our connection with the natural world. And I have a lot of hope that it's going in a positive direction.
I hope some people get some positives out of that. That's for sure. Absolutely. Adam, anything you want to leave everybody with?
I wrote a post the other day where I talked about how, like, for like so long, we used to look at, building structures, bridges, all these things, and say, like, look at what we can build. Like, this must be the pinnacle of humanity. Like, is it though? Like, is that really, like, what are we creating right now in this isolation from some people and from the natural world? Like, what is it right now that matters so much to us? And I think it's love and connection. Because I think that's the pinnacle of us. That's the pinnacle of humanity. Our ability to see ourselves in all other living things and love unconditionally. Like, we can love without condition. Doesn't have to do anything with gender, with species, with race. We have the ability to love unconditionally, and that is the pinnacle of humanity. And I think we're seeing that now. You're seeing messages on buildings that we thought were so fabulous, saying, "We love you, we're with you. Stay home, stay safe." All these things. These are messages of love and connection, because that's what matters most to us. And how are we going to use that? How are we going to see that connection and use it moving forward in a way that allows us to connect to things in a more holistic, in a more loving and deeply meaningful way that benefits not just our immediate desire, but also the world around us and the people that mean so much to us and the animals that mean so much to us, and see that, like, we are all a part of it all, like all of it. Like in unity, not the same, but equal. And I think that that's really what I hope people end up seeing from this is, like, I do not care right now if I could go and, buy a new pair of shoes, but I would do anything to go give my mom a hug.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting what they're talking about. We have this idea of survival of the fittest. The Darwinistic approach that it's if you get something then I don't, and that it has this zero-sum approach from an individual standpoint that I must survive. And the problem with that is that it's a misunderstanding. First, a misunderstanding of survival of the fittest is about species survival, not individual survival. And the problem what most people have is that the concept of survival of the fittest was popularized by scientists who found it fascinating. But if you read The Descent of Man, I'm not saying you should, because it's a dense tome and it's not really exciting. But if you read The Descent of Man, it occurs twice in this giant book. The words survival of the fittest show up twice. But there's a word that occurs over 90 times, and that's love. Mm-hmm. Love occurs over 90 times in that book. It seems to be more important to me, and it's that's how we survive, because we can do, like, we are capable of building things. We are capable of that, because we're slow, we're soft, we're not very strong. We don't have canines, and we don't have like sharp claws. We're going to get destroyed out there with the other animals. Absolutely destroyed. So what we have to do is work together. But other animals work together. Insects work together. But we go beyond that, because we're willing to pick up the person who fell down next to me. That's what is special about us. And we see it in other animals, but in terms of our ability to unify and cooperate together and help each other is our biggest asset as a species. So.
Absolutely. I love talking to you two gentlemen in particular, because you guys always leave me with a depth of knowledge that I didn't have, and different sources and things to look at. So I appreciate you guys. Morgan, it was very nice to meet you. I was glad you were able to join us as well. We will definitely have to do this again. I wish there wasn't a limit of an hour of these live feeds. The same thing on Instagram, same thing on Facebook, and they cut you off immediately. But I wanted to thank all three of you for your time today. I appreciate all you guys put out into the universe. And if you guys have not already, please make sure you go check out their Instagrams and their Facebooks to see what they are putting out there into the world. So my wife just said I could talk to you, all talk for hours. So unfortunately, we have 55 seconds left. So,
yeah, thank you for having us on here.
Absolutely. I think it's important to be able to talk and talk to people who inspire you. And to me, you guys are, like my wife and I said, you guys are two of the first activists that we have met, and I appreciate the friendship that we've been building and the things that you guys bring out into the universe. So, and this cat is absolutely hilarious. So. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and make sure you guys stay in touch. If you need something, stay safe, and keep me posted on anything you guys need. We'll be happy to help any way we can.
Thanks, Chris.
You guys have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.